Okay, it's time for another video. As you saw by the title of today's video, let me just bring it all up. The Doctrine of Wisdom Beyond Learning. It is something I wrote, or I'm writing about this really every day. So it shouldn't be anything new to you. But what that means is simply that the wisdom or the insights that you get are not from someone, just get my camera right, from someone telling you, or from reading about it, or from getting it from schools or what, not from teachers, but it's a revelation. It comes to you spontaneously. Insights, answers come to you spontaneously. Like someone just asked me the other day, how do you do this? How do you get in touch with this, make that connection to your inner self and get the answers directly from within yourself? And I replied, if you have a question in your mind, something that you want to know, and you stay with that question, and then you pay attention to your immediate environment, what's happening around you, the answers will come intuitively. You might be standing in a bank in a queue, and someone in front of you in that queue is talking about whatever, and the words that you catch there might be meaningful or important to you. They're not going to be important to them in that sense, but they're going to be important to you as an answer to the question. Yeah, I know someone that actually gets her answers from number plates of cars in front of her when she's stuck in traffic. Especially, the number plates, the personal number plates that have a word or so in it. Yeah, another person from trucks or buses, and ads and names of the freight companies and so on the side. Remember one day one person so excited that she stayed with a question, and the answer was just on a truck that she was driving on the freeway, and the truck was in front of her, or was turning, and she noticed the title on the trailer, and that was the answer for her. Whatever was the words that were written on the trailer. So it's everything, your whole environment. Some people just pick up a book and open a page, and there will be a word or two or a sentence. The answer might not be there immediately, but if you keep that in mind, it will eventually string itself to another part of the answer, to another part of the answer, intuitively connecting. You're following the trace, the intuitive trace, to what you want to know. Yeah. So I'll read you a little bit of something that I shared on social media the other day. This is from Peter Kingsley's book, Catafalque, and later I'll read you an essay that I wrote. I'm not going to read the whole essay, it's long, regarding this wisdom beyond learning. But here is something that Peter Kingsley, when he speaks about Jung, and Jung receiving answers through revelation rather than through learning. Yeah? So this is what Peter Kingsley wrote. Let me just get this right. But the problem with this whole grand narrative, Jung insists, is that it doesn't come anywhere near to explain the real facts. And the real facts are that all those methods and techniques for building ships are not human inventions, but are revelations. What he's talking about here is that any human endeavor, whether building ships, or whether Nikola Tesla inventing the electric motor, or the radio, or any other invention that he made, or any inventor that makes any invention, they're not really something that you do yourself. They come from the other side, from the spirit, from the unconscious. The answers come from there, from that eternal dimension we have access to. And I've shared with you so many dreams and so many revelations in the past in my videos and in my work that I share on social media, where this is proven to be true. Like I've said to you, giving you the examples of the man that invented petrol, benzene. He had an answer he was looking for. He's a chemist. He was looking for the connection of the molecules that is going to make the benzene, and he had an answer. It was given to him in a dream. So it wasn't anything that he invented. The invention came to him from the unconscious, from the soul, from the other side, you know, from the dimension we call afterlife or underworld, or the other side, simply just the other side, from the world of the spirit. There's this idea that there is the Akashic records, and these records are, you know, always available to all of us. Everything is already there. So whatever you're looking for, the answer will always be there already. The answer to whatever, the invention or problems or whatnot, it's already there. And sometimes we call this dimension eternity. So if you can, the best way to plug into this is through dreams. Like, for instance, for me, it's usually through dreams, yeah. But there are, and intuition. But there are people, I know people that are connecting to this through visions. For instance, they have really strong visions that give them insights or revelations to not only to what they want to know, but their own ability, or their own, where they are in relation to this dimension, to the inner self, if you like. Because the inner self, your inner self, is connected to that. Your soul is connected to the greater soul, if you like. And that's where you get the answers. That's where you get help, and that's where you get the proddings, the little insights that even in your everyday life is helpful. So if you can connect to this dimension, you're not alone, because things are going to be you will get looked after, like I said before, but you've got to be able to pay attention, yeah? So I'll finish what he says there. So this is inventions, but are revelations, yeah? They are revealed truths or perceived truths which has been thought before man has thought. So this is the eternity, the eternal part of us. Before I had that thought, it had already been thought, and I merely happened to perceive it once in time. It has been there since eternity, is always there, has always lived, and I just happened a certain moment to perceive it. This was actually Jung speaking, and I don't remember where it was. It might have been from the Red Book. And then we go on with the quote. But here he is again, so Jung, pointing everything back to the reality of revelation, to that timeless primordial revelation which has existed since eternity. Humanity has access to this. We see this in art, in archaeology, for instance, in the paintings, in the cave paintings. The revelations are there. In the earliest sculptures, in the earliest art artifacts. That's the word I was looking for. We see this, that humanity has access to this dimension of eternity, where all the answers are already there. And especially shamans, when they go into a trance state, they have the access to it. That's how they find solutions. For instance, if you need help with health, that's how I found solutions to if I need help with health. I've shared with you a dream where I was given an answer by my inner self, an old wise man, you know, with a beard and so on. That was he was playing the role of a doctor, and he gave me an answer. If you do this and this and this, your problems will go away. Your health problems will go away. And I did that, and it went away. So it's all there. It's just a matter of connecting to it. So, since eternity. The trouble is, though, that this reality isn't a theoretical concept or something to understand with the mind. It's got to be understood with your intuitive mind, not your rational mind. Otherwise you miss the whole thing. You will not connect to it. On the contrary, there is only one possible way to approach it, which is when it's directly seen and experienced as a reality. and the direct vision of this pre-existent eternity is the one thing able to save us from drowning in the impossible paradox that even our skills at navigating the waters of the unconscious is itself a skill given to us by the unconscious. Exactly, like I said, if you connect to the unconscious helps you and guides you to how to do it. Do you remember my dream when I shared with you, I mean, many videos ago now, I imagine, but when I was still living in Perth, that was in 1993 or 94, when the figure of the soul, the feminine, hovered above my bed, and I woke up in the middle of the night. And what did she say? She was dressed in white. She was floating, you know, just like a bee floating above me. She was bright, like the white light of the moon. She had long flowing hair, and she said to me, I woke up, I couldn't move, I was terrified. And she said to me, Marek, if you don't lose the spirit, I will show you everything you're looking for. If you turn, in other words, if you sublimate your energy, your libido inwards, your life force inwards, don't waste it. Focus on inwardly focus your life. I will give you all the answers you're looking for. And that's how it turned out for me. If you read my books, either ones, but especially Where We Dream the Single Dream, where I share the whole process of how I became what I do now, of being with one leg in this reality visible and the other firmly rooted in the invisible, in the dimension of the soul, the dimension of the sacred. It taught me how to do it. I was just staying with the question. I was just worried. I don't understand this and I don't understand that. And then he came to me. You know, the spirit, the soul came to me and said, don't worry, I will help you. Just, you know, focus inwardly. It'll be in your dreams, it'll be in your visions. It was in my art. It was in the poetry. It's in the books that I read. If you start following the trace, if you start looking for it, it will come, and it's going to help you to find it. So you're never alone. Yeah. So this was, excuse me. No, this was Peter Kingsley Katafulke that I shared. Now I'm going to give you a few examples about this. It's a long essay, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll just give you a few examples. Yeah, this one. There's a wonderful ancient story told in Bede's Historia Ecclesiastica of a shy bard called Caedmon, who benefited from his soul's installing confidence in his own inner resources and his mysterious way of illuminating wisdom beyond learning. So that's what we're talking about, wisdom beyond learning. And it goes something like this. According to Bede, Cædmon was a lay brother who cared for the animals at the monastery Streonæshalch one evening while the monks were feasting, singing and playing a harp. Cædmon left early to sleep with the animals because he knew no songs. He left because he didn't have the skill. He didn't think he has the skill like the other monks to sing, yeah, and play the instruments. The impression directly given by Saint Bede is that he lacked the knowledge of how to compose the lyrics to songs. While he slept, someone stood by him in a dream, greeted, called him by name and said to him, just exactly like my dream, you know, when she says, she woke me up, Marek, you know, if you do this, and I will help you. Cædmon, sing me something. This is the figure in his dream that he says, Cædmon, sing me something. He replied, I know not how to sing. This is the reason I left the feast. I am here because I cannot sing. The personage insisted, no matter, you must sing to me. Well, he answered, what shall I sing? To which the other responded, sing me the beginning of created things. And at that, straightaway, Cædmon sang in praise of God the Creator verses he had never heard. You see? It works. But he walked away from the crowd and he went to sleep early. And because being a monk, he's inwardly connected already, and it was easier for him to find that answer within himself. And he trusted this image of this inner self or the soul that came to him in dream, and it worked. He was singing songs, verses he's never heard before. I cannot tell you how many times I had a similar. There are people that like I said, this guy that invented benzene, he didn't know how to. That's why he was contemplating how to create this formula, the chemical formula for the benzene. He didn't. It was given to him in a dream. It was a revelation from the unconscious. Same like with Caedmon. The words that he was singing, it was a revelation given to him from the unconscious. The unconscious already knew. It was Caedmon that had to catch up. Same with me. The unconscious already knew what I needed to do. It was me always catching up. If you read in the book where we dream the thing, it's just like that. It already knew this is where you're gonna go. This is what you're going to do. It was me always catching up to that. I was following the thread. One thing I didn't know I just had the inklings from my dreams and from intuition and from the things that I observed around me in my immediate environment. But the whole picture was there, but I didn't catch. It took me a while to catch up, because it was planning. The unconscious plans for you and sort of takes you on a journey, if you like. If you go along with it, you're following the thread, the invisible thread, back to its source. And the back to its source it's that source that is actually helping you along to realize that you and it are simply seamless. One thing. There's no distance between you. That you are it and it is you. Yeah? So I'll give you another example. The story of Parzival. Arthurian legends. Yeah? In the Arthurian romance's story of Parzival quest for the Holy Grail, the young knight Parzival, having wandered for many years lost, looking to recover the right direction to the Grail Castle, eventually lets his horse reins loose, and the animal leads him spontaneously in the right direction. Horses are a very good example of the inner self. And if you let go of trying to control with your head, with the mind gets out of the way, the rational mind gets out of the way, the instincts, the feminine instincts we call intuition, which is an image of the helpful animal, it will lead you to where you have to go. But you have to let go. You have to stoop and flow. So many times I've written it in my poetry. You have to stoop and flow, then it works. How much time? We've got plenty of time. Okay, so keep going. So he lets go of the reins, and animal leads him spontaneously in the right direction. The hero allows nature, the feminine instincts we call intuition, his very own intuitive nature, to find a way back into his inner world of the center of life, and recover that which he is looking for, the grail, the mystic cup from which he to drink the ambrosia of immortality, intuitive water of life. That's what grail is. That's what grail is. Grail, if you look at a cup, there's the cup. I'll give you an example, yeah? Cup has an outside and an inside. In other words, it mediates between what's outside and what's inside. That's the grail. And that's your intuition. Yeah? So the inside is your inner life, the outside is the outside life. I remember my dream when I finally made it into the cave. There was a huge flowering tree up there. The ceiling was a round, circle, open up to the heavens. And from the roots of the tree flew the water was flowing, the spring. And my guide, the feminine, the image of the soul, she walked into the stream, picked up a cup, filled it with this water and said, drink. This is where many men of old found their gold. She was speaking poetry. Do you remember that? That's the grail. The grail is the same idea as the tree, as the water, as the cave. This is the mediating function, or transcendent function, if you like, in Jungian language, between this world and the other world. And that function is your intuition. That's the missing part in our Western society, the intuitive mind. Everything's been taken over by the rational mind. That's why intuition in the feminine is been suppressed for so many thousands of years, really. Especially in the last 2,000 years when the church took over, some more 1,500 years if you like, when they started to destroy the paganisms, and then they try to destroy women and feminine, because that's the image. Once you have your own connection to the divine, you don't need an institution like church, so it had to be gotten rid of. Yeah. Let's see another example. So this is this was Arthurian, in another Arthurian legend of Tristan. Tristan in Isolde. That's another Arthurian legend. Difficult for me to pronounce. In another Arthurian legend, the story of Tristan in Isolde, the hero Tristan sails across the sea to meet with his destiny Isolde. That's the image of the soul, the feminine, yeah. Upon an oarless skiff carried by the magic power of its music and song, the sound of the universe directly from Tristan's heart leads the way. It's another example of the going across the sea of the unconscious with no oars. It's just you're following the intuitive, the music of the heart, the spontaneously arising revelations, the spontaneous creativity out of your heart that leads the way. Because when you're singing, you're connecting to the heart, and the heart is the image of the intuition. Not only feeling, the most important is feeling is important because it creates relationship, especially one-on-one. But intuition is that which actually connects us, and there's an exchange of information between you and the other side. Yeah, first you need the connection, well, let's say feeling, but then you need exchange of information between you and the other side. That's the role of intuition. So let's get another example. In the Odyssey, where the hero Odysseus was introduced by goddess Psyche how to find the way to the underworld, the inner world, that is within you, to the center, he was told not to do anything but to simply hoist the sail of his boat and let the northern wind, intuitive spirit, wing him there. And this is what Odysseus says to that. O Psyche, who will guide us on this journey to Hades, to no man ever yet went in a black ship. So I spoke, and the beautiful goddess straightaway made answer. Son of Letheus, sprung from Zeus, Odysseus of many devices, let there be in thy mind no concern for a pilot to guide thy ship, but set up the mast and spread the white sail and sit there down, and the breath of the northern wind will bear her onward. The northern wind is another image of the wind, is another image of your feminine, of the intuition. So don't worry about it. Just trust the wind, trust you and it will take you to the underworld, take you to the center. The core of the center is your inner self. And the centers, one of the oldest symbols of the center is the circle. So if you go to that center of that circle, that's where the tree of life is located, or the fountain of life, the stream, like I said to you in the dreams that I've given you, or the circumference of a volcano, especially extinguished volcano, because volcanoes archetypally are the image where you enter into the underworld. At the threshold between the entrance and the outside, volcano, the rim of the volcano is again like a cup. So there's the outside of the volcano and the inside of the volcano. If you're standing at the rim, at the threshold, you're in between the two worlds. Yeah. The same with cave. The cave is the inside, your inner life. The outside is outside the cave. You're standing at the door, at the threshold, at the entrance. That you're standing at the threshold. You're in between the two worlds. You're mediating between the two worlds. Yeah. Okay. So we got another example. Okay, I read you this. Okay, well that's probably enough, because I've read you that I've included what I've read you from Peter King's Catapult, the revelation. So what I'm talking about is the wisdom. Let me just see, I forget even my own titles. The doctrine of wisdom beyond learning. So it means that instead of you finding the what you learn, you got to remember what you learn. That's the mind. That's the masculine. The masculine is your rational mind. The feminine is your intuitive mind. The rational mind is what we have now in our society, in our culture. It's been, the whole of humanity has been infected with this. It's not just the West, which is really, really infected with it. There's hardly anything irrational, but also in the East and the rest of the world. What we see, what we have been told, what we read, what we hear in the news, in the newspaper, what someone tells us, the education system, the religious institutions, all of them are infected with this, because the irrational, the revelation part is completely missing. And it's forbidden in many, in most of the Abrahamic religions, it's forbidden. They got rid of it. They got rid of it initially in Judaism. They destroyed the temples of Asherah, the goddess. Asherah and Yahweh were a couple. Yahweh was the masculine part, the outside, the rational, and Asherah was the feminine part, the intuitive mind, the inner life of the spirit, of the soul. And when eventually the priests of Yahweh destroyed the feminine in the Judaic tradition. They destroyed her sacred grove, then they manipulated the text to erase her completely. And this carried on in Christian tradition. Christ came, or Jesus came, to recover this, to bring back this tradition we have missed of the feminine. That's why he had two modes of teaching. First was the public, in the parables, for the people, for the masses that didn't understand anything. He had to be very careful because you would be persecuted, killed. And he eventually got killed for what he was teaching. And then he had a private teaching where he was telling people how to do it, how to reconnect directly with this part in you, with the feminine. Yeah? So that was really important. That was his teaching. That was the mode of his teaching. So that's why he came back, to recover. And eventually they got rid of him. They killed him because he was teaching people how you don't need the priestly class. You don't need the religious class. They got rid of him. They got rid of many others like this. They got rid of Al-Halaj for the same reason in Islam. You know, you're not allowed to have the prophetic tradition. All the religions had prophetic traditions. You know, Judaism had has a huge prophetic tradition, but they got rid of it. And that's when they got rid of the Asherah. And that was the prophetic tradition. And in Islam, they got rid of prophetic tradition by claiming that Muhammad is the only prophet. There's no other prophets. So you're not allowed to be a prophet. So Sufis and so on had to be very careful after that. And in Christianity, they got rid of the prophetic tradition as well, because once they got rid of once they got rid of Christ, of course, Jesus, then they started getting rid of the pagans, and the pagans were the ones that actually had more access to this more prophetic revelation, to your own intuitive dream vision connections to the unconscious, to the soul. So they got rid of that. And then only the saints were able to have visions, and they put up with the visions. But so long as the saint had the vision within what was allowed by the church, and this is how it stands to this day. And this is why in our society, anyone who has visions, you know, prophetic, it goes back to the ancient Western tradition of prophetic tradition, where you have directly access to the divine, doesn't get any attention. You know, how many people do you know, or the gurus, the so-called Western gurus, and actually have their own access and visions, direct visions? They just mouth off what someone else mouthed off. the best that I think that can be said about them is that they all talk about that it's all just now. It's now, live in the moment. What happens if you go deeper beyond the moment, to the archetypal, to the spirit, to the soul, to the dimension, to that dimension? What happens then? Yeah. All right. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. The battery on my camera seems to be dying, so I better finish now anyway. So I'll see you on the next one. Bye.